Hello Year 6, welcome to your maths lesson today. Have you ever seen this pop up on one of your devices at home? It says, screen time, weekly report available. Your screen time was down 41% last week for an average of 1 hour 15 minutes a day. Have you ever stopped to think about what that word average means? Well, today we're going to look at averages. And I know that Mr. Anthony has covered this briefly with you, and we're going to now build on that and make sure we are really fluent with those skills. So, can you remember what the types of average are? They are mean, median, and mode. When you get test results at school, what's the first thing that you like to do when you've got them all in? I reckon what most of you do is add them all together and divide by the number of subjects that you have got. What you are doing when you do this is finding the mean average. The mean is the sum of the values divided by the number of values you have. So here we've got Joe, and he's got 7 test results here. He's got his geography, biology, French, English, maths, music and art. And he's added them all together and divided by the number of subjects he's got. And that gives him a mean average of his test scores. So this gives him kind of one representative value of all his tests. Okay? And this is a mean average. But there are 2 other types of average. Can you remember what the words were from a couple of moments ago? There is the mode, and there's one more that we're going to come to in a second. The mode is the value that occurs most often. The mode for Joe's results was 88% because it occurred twice in geography and art. You can see it occurred twice. There isn't always a mode. You might get exam results that are all different, and therefore you won't have a mode, and that's fine. Sometimes there isn't a mode. So we've looked at 2 types of average. We've seen the mean and we've seen the mode. And there's another type of average, the median. The median is the middle value when the data is arranged in order of size. So he's got all his test results here and he's ordered them from smallest, that was his lowest score in music, all the way up to his highest score in art and geography. And the median was the middle value. So French was right in the middle here. You know it's in the middle because you've got an equal number both sides. You've got 3 subjects that side and 3 subjects that side. Now there's one more thing that you might have come across, and that's called the range. Now the range is not technically an average, it's a measure of spread, okay? It's the difference between the lowest value and the highest value. It's not technically an average because an average just gives us one number that represents all our data, but a range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. It's not that single value that represents the middle. Here's a little poem to help you remember the averages. It goes, hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle, you add then divide for the mean, the mode is the one you see the most, and the range is the difference between. Let's have a look at a couple of examples. So, example number 1. This could be the number of pets people have, it could be the number of e-praise you've got in one day, it could be the number of pencils you have in your pencil case. You can get sets of numbers by doing lots of different things. These are just examples. So, let's remind ourselves of the poem to calculate the mean, median and mode here. Hey diddle diddle, the median is the middle, but it was something I needed to do before we could find out the middle. And hopefully you remember that that is ordering it from smallest to biggest. So hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle, but you have to order them from smallest to biggest first. So here I am ordering them from smallest to biggest. 2, 2, 3, 6, 7. And the median is the one that sits right in the middle. So the median there is 3. What's the mean? Well, the mean, I have to add them all together and divide by the number of them that I have. Let's try and add together efficiently here. Okay, I know that 2 and 2 is 4, but I know that my number bond 4 and 6 makes 10. Okay, so all of those can be brought together to make 10. 2 and 2 is 4 plus 6 is 10, so that's a 10. And then I've actually got another 10 here, 3 and 7. That makes a 10 as well. So altogether, I've got 20. And then what do I divide by? I divide by 5. Why? Because I've got 5 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dividing by 5. So what's 20 divided by 5? Well, 20 divided by 5 is 4. So my mean is 4. What's the mode? Well, let's remind ourselves of the poem. Hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle. You add then divide for the mean, that's what I've done there. The mode is the one you see the most, which is 2. And the range is the difference between the biggest and the smallest. Now remember, range is a measure of spread, not an average. These are your averages, mean, median and mode. They're your averages. But it's still worthwhile knowing how to calculate your range. So you can see that they are different numbers, and that's fine. Sometimes they're the same numbers, sometimes they're different numbers, sometimes they can be very different numbers, the mean, the median and the mode. Example number 2. We've got some numbers here. Now the first thing I'm going to do is put them in order. So 1, and I've got a few more here, so I'm going to cross them off. I've got 3 2s. I've got a 3, a 4, a 4, and a 6. So hey diddle diddle, the median's the middle. Now I haven't got one middle value here. I've got 2. If I've got 2 middle values, how do I know that they're in the middle? Well, because I'm looking for an equal number either side. Look, 1, 2, 3. 3 are sitting there, and 1, 2, 3. 3 are sitting there. So I have to. This is my middle value here. But I've got to find the halfway result between those two. So what do? I have to add them together and divide by 2. So add them together, which gives me 5, and divide by 2, which gives me 2.5. So 2.5 is in the middle there. So my median is 2.5. What about my mean? Well, you add then divide for the mean. So let's add and divide for the mean. Try and make it as efficient as you can. So I can see that we've got 6 and 4. Well, 6 and 4 make 10. My number bond. This is 2, 4, 6, and then another 4 makes that another 10. Try and group the numbers as best you can to make it efficient. And then it's got a 1 and a 3. So I'm adding that on. So altogether that makes a nice easy 24. 24. And what am I dividing by? I'm dividing by 8 because I've got 8 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm dividing by 8. So what's 24 divided by 8? 24 divided by 8 is 3. So the mean there is 3. What's the mode? The mode is the one you see the most, and I reckon that is 2, because I see 3 of them. 2 is my mode. And the range is the difference between the largest and the smallest, which is 5. Okay. So I would like you now to do just A, B, C, D on worksheet 10. Okay, just A, B, C, D on worksheet 10. So worksheet 10, A, B, C, D. Okay, I know that there's a lower half to this sheet, but just leave that and we will come back to that tomorrow. Now that might be very straightforward for some of you, and that's absolutely fine. Here are some more extension questions. Okay, so just do A, B, C, D as your main class work. If you want a further extension, this is what you should be doing. And you can do this in your red squared booklet, or you can do it in class notebook. It is in class notebook under extension. Okay, so you can do it in there if you wish. So this is in your paper booklet. So do it in your paper booklet and take a photo of it and put it under photos of your work in class notebook, or you can do it within class notebook as a digital copy, and I'll put one of those into class notebook for you to write over if you prefer to do it that way. So that's the main class work, that is your extension. I look forward to seeing evidence of that in class notebook.